Welcome back to Sunrise. We'll turn our attention now to the judiciary and how can they also be co-opted. They need to be co-opted. But it's all about connecting them with the fight against corruption. We're joined now by Emmanuel Ezugu, who is a legal practitioner and president, Initiative for Inspiration and Development for Young Nigerians. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I know you heard several times that cliche, how at least the presidency or the president thinks that the judiciary has got to do a lot more than they're currently doing. Do you see any, at least some real meanings in terms of what the president is saying?
Yeah, if you look at criminal trial in Nigeria, it is, both the executive and the judiciary, and even the legislature that should be involved. But criminal trial should start with diligent investigation and diligent prosecution. You don't just go to court and ask for what you cannot establish. Now, before you convict any person, it must be beyond reasonable doubt. You don't convict anybody on pages of newspaper. Now, when an accused person is brought before a judge, and the next thing is to take your plea, whether guilty or not. The moment the person says, I'm not guilty, you see the defense counsel moving motion for his application of bail. But you see an unserious prosecution opposing the bail application, when ordinarily bail should be granted at the discretion of the court. So that brings altercation between the prosecution and the defense. So you most of the times, you don't use bail, you don't use denial of bail as a punishment for somebody who is being alleged to have committed an offense. So if you have done your due diligence in prosecution and investigation, if somebody moves motion for bail for the accused person's application, you just allow it to go and you begin your prosecution.
So far, how do you see the fight against corruption then? The
fight against corruption, if you ask me, is on pages of newspaper and media. Now, we are into almost 1 year into this administration. There is no conviction. The criminal trial is not even going on. What they are saying is, I apply for bail, this person embezzled 20 billion, this person embezzled $30 trillion. And meanwhile, all these things are not even in court. You cannot establish it. If you now say somebody embezzled, is alleged to have embezzled $2.something billion arms can. For instance, let me use it as an example. Number one, it means that the National Assembly must have budgeted for arms in dollars, and that is not so. We don't do our budgetary allocation in dollars. We do it in naira. And a smart lawyer will bring an application for preliminary objection, stating that the person is being charged under a wrong law or a wrong notion. So that is why people are saying certain persons are being persecuted instead of prosecution, and you cannot even say you are investigating or you are prosecuting people for having spent a lot of money in 2015 election when you are using one political party. So so many people are looking at this because perception is reality. If the fight, let me land. If the fight against corruption is is holistic, there is no way the former British Prime Minister will say Nigeria is fantastically corrupt, because what it means is present continuous tense.
That's subjective, because people have interpreted that comment in different ways. But let me bring it back to when you say there's been no conviction. You give people the impression that is the executive supposed to be the one convicting people?
No, but if the executive, they're supposed to be doing the prosecution. If the prosecution is not going on, there's no way you secure conviction.
Even if prosecution is going on, do you get conviction as quick and fast as you say?
No, excuse me, you don't get prosecution as quick and fast as you say, but the prosecution must be seen to be going on. There should be due diligence in prosecution.
Is it not
There's no way.
going on?
Yeah, it's not going on. What we're seeing is when somebody is arrested, he's thrown into jail or detention, so many months will go by, an application for bail will be made, sometimes it will be denied. At the end of the day, you don't hear anything again.
If the judiciary if there was A-OK, why do we talk so much about judicial reforms? Why do we come up with Administration and Criminal Justice Act?
No, it's here. Judiciary has an internal built mechanism of fighting against corruption among the judiciary staff. Because we have seen so many judges, they were dismissed or disciplined on account that the judge did not even deliver judgment within 90 days. We have seen a situation where some judges were disciplined in Nigeria. I don't have to be mentioning their names, for act of corruption. But we have not seen any person who have been disciplined in National Assembly or prosecuted in National Assembly for acts of corruption. We've not even seen any person from among the executive that have been disciplined for the acts of corruption.
Mr. Nene, if you were allegedly accused of stealing, allegedly stealing 20 billion naira, would you place your faith in the Nigerian judiciary?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. If it is mere allegation, because sometimes people will not conduct due diligence in investigation and prosecution. Let me tell you what happened in Boris' case. In Boris, for instance, you have 1,001 count charge against him. When Ibori was to be tried in London, there is only 2 count charge. The investigation was thorough, the prosecution was thorough, and he pleaded guilty. Now, most of the times is this: people knew there was no due diligence. There is no way this person can be convicted on account of what is before the court. Now, certain persons were being charged in Nigeria without proof of evidence. All these things are empty. If you read the charge sheet of all these people, all this noise going on in media, somebody standing trial for millions of dollars, it is empty.
The judges said so.
It's not.
Or you're assuming that that's.
I'm not assuming. I'm a lawyer. I know the language of the law.
You're not prosecuting or defending all those cases. Are you?
No. I know the language. If you draft your charge to say that you ought to know, that is not the language of the law. That you ought to know. The charge
My lawyer has drafted it.
I'm not aware. The charge you read that you knowing fully well.
Who do you think drafted them?
Knowing fully well.
Yeah,
that's
who do you think
it's the
drafted
prosecution.
Are they not lawyers?
I don't know.
But you're a lawyer. You don't know if prosecution are
No,
lawyers?
sometimes the way they do their thing, sometimes they contract these things out.